Alright folks, welcome back to Glesga News. It's Wednesday the 29th of April 2020 and we're still in the midst of this CCP, or as I like to call it, CCP virus, which is the Chinese Communist Party virus. Now, that's what I've been calling it for some time, and I was amazed. I was just wandering through this rag, the Daily Record, this red top, and I suddenly saw this here, and I went, oh, holy Toledo, the Daily Record's worked it out. This is going to be amazing. Somebody there must have found out the facts and is going to report on it. So it says here, the CCP virus, how the Chinese Communist Party's cover-up led to a global pandemic. And that's the truth. They don't realise they've actually printed the truth. But it's no actually an expose on the Chinese Communist Party. It's no. What it is this guy here, this individual, Paul Hutcheon. He's the political editor, apparently, at the Daily Record. Now, let's face it, folks. You don't get to be the political editor at the Daily Record unless you're a Karl Marx, Stalin, Lenin-loving, card-waving commie. Let's face it. He here is not going to expose the Chinese Communist Party. What he's going to do here is he's going to have a go at people that are having a go at the Chinese Communist Party. He's going to defend China. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the absolute audacity of somebody to actually produce an editorial where they actually support China and what's happening here, right? So he goes on to say here, anger as right-wing conspiracy magazine on the coronavirus lands through Edinburgh doors. Now, the Epoch Times, which blames the Chinese Communist Party for the pandemic, has been criticised for sending its publication to homes in Scotland. Now, let me just say something about the Epoch Times. I highly recommend the Epoch Times, people. Search for them, find their websites. They've got a guy called Joshua. I forget his second name, just escapes me at the moment. He's a correspondent. He's worked on the Chinese Communist Party for over 10 years. Knows an awful lot more than Paul Hutcheon here in this really silly article, right? This is what's called, propaganda. This is a hit piece. They know how powerful the Epoch Times has become and is going to become. They recently done, this guy Joshua recently done he has a video, a YouTube channel called Crosstalk, I believe. I'll leave the links for the video that he done and also for his channel. They also have another thing that's called American Thought Leaders with Yanyi, I forget his surname, Yanyi Chanik or something like that, but he's really good as well. He interviews some, amazing people who they talk about different subjects and that, and I quite like it. But anyway, let's get back to the Epoch Times. I've been reading the Epoch Times online for 2 years, watching various videos, etc. And I am a bit annoyed that I didn't get a copy of this. Do you know that the Epoch Times, before coronavirus was all the rage, or the CCP virus, it was the Russiagate. Do you remember? People like Paul and all that would be all jumping on the Russia. The Russia helped Trump and all the rest of it. But no, notice that's all disappeared because they eventually found out it was pish, right? even the conspiracy theorists that proposed it in the beginning, because that's what it was. They've actually just dropped out. Oh no, haven't they made it that? We just look like absolute fannies if we talk about it. Well, anyway, the Epoch Times was exposing all that jargon, all that shit for CNN, fake news, etc., etc. All through that time frame. Now, I remember at one particular time they produced this. I liked it anyway. It was a poster, and in this poster it depicted the chronology of the conspiracy and all the conspirators within this Russiagate saga. And it was amazing. So I was trying to get a copy of this, so I actually contacted the Epoch Times. I sent an email, I found somebody's address, and I sent him an email and I says, look, is there any way we could arrange for me to buy this? you know, and you can send it over. I mean, I wanted it on my wall. I actually wanted it on my ceiling above my bed, right? So about 3 weeks went past. I had not heard a word. And then I got an email and I went, oh, here it is. I'm going to get it. It's brilliant. And I opened it up. And what did it say? It just went, LOL. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what that means. People tell me it's laugh out loud, but I don't think so, you know. But anyway, let's get back to what this absolute Egypt's talking about, right? He's going on to talk about the Epoch Times. As I say, the video that they produced got over 70 million hits before they pulled it down, and it's brilliant. He goes on about the people of Edinburgh received this magazine through their door for nothing. Right? Wish I got it. And apparently, he says here, it claims, he says, the COVID-19, he goes to call it COVID-19, right? 19 basically means it was discovered in 2019. You know, there's nothing amazing about that. Which has caused the deaths of thousands of people in the UK. Well, Paul, that's actually people's mums and dads and sons and daughters. That's their children, Paul. They can't even get to the funerals. The virus is so contagious. But I mean, why? I mean, he goes on to talk about certain parliamentarians have said, oh, that's terrible. We don't want any cranky conspiracy theories. Well, what's the conspiracy theory about then? Let's talk about it, because I don't want to hear about any more of these bought and paid for politicians. And if any politician you hear within earshot on the news or whatever starts saying, oh no, we can't say that about China, they have been bought. They're bought and paid for, right? Something they're involved with is getting Chinese money. You know that you do know, folks, that while we're on our knees in all these countries in the world, China has been trying to take over lots and lots of different companies. They're targeting different companies and trying to take over their shares because the share prices are low. Now, what we really require when we get back on our feet is laws in all the different countries, as laws being brought into Parliament to repatriate the shares from China. Tell them to just piss right off. Here's your money back. We're taking your shares. You're not the overall shareholder of this company. You're not going to dictate what we do in these companies. And that's it. Because that's what China would do. But let's get back to why we call it the CCP virus. You know, let's break it down, shall we? So let's say it's not called the CCP virus. So let's try and work out the origins of it. So where did it come from? China. Right, okay, well, okay. Can we call it a China virus? Alright, well that's maybe, I mean, I like the Chinese people. There's nothing wrong with Chinese people. They're getting held down by these maniacs, right? These dictators. So, okay, let's not call it China, because that's kind of, you know, that blames the whole of China, doesn't it? Right, okay, we can't do that. Well, whereabouts in China did it come from? Well, it was a city called Wuhan. Right, okay, so the Wuhan virus. Okay, right, let's leave it at that. So what happened then when this virus appeared? So what happened was in early December 2019, certain doctors and nurses were picking up people coming through the hospital in serious conditions with pneumonia, and people were dying. Right? Nurses were getting infected. So they started talking about it in a sort of chat room environment. And this information leaked out to the authorities. Who's the authorities? Is it the police? No, it's the Chinese Communist Party. Right, okay, so they're involved there. So the Chinese Communist Party, what did they do? Did they go and investigate it? No, they arrested all the doctors. Warned them. Told them that they were causing mayhem and they were saying things that were completely wrong. No, they weren't actually. 3 weeks later, it was chaos in Wuhan. Queues outside the hospital. Unfortunately for the people queued outside and in the corridors, they were all reinfecting each other. And anybody that was there to try to visit or came in with somebody else was getting infected because the whole air was filled, as we now know now, don't we, folks? So, what happened then? Well, they shut down that city. Who shut it down? The CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. They shut it down. What do I mean by that? They blocked the motorways in and out. They blocked every single road, street, alleyway. You couldn't get in or out of that city. They then, They then, well, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, they then ended all air travel within China. Oh no, you can't travel to Beijing, you can't go to Shanghai, no chance. You're going to spread that. But I'm going to Italy. Aye, on you go. Who allowed that? The CCP. Where are you going? I'm going to America. Aye, on you go. So the CCP allowed the virus to escape. There's no doubt about that, right? Because they're in charge, aren't they? You can't say they're in charge of the country and then say, oh, it's got nothing to do with them. But whereabouts in Wuhan did it come from? Let's dig a wee bit deeper. They say it came from a wet market. But you know, coincidentally, about 280 metres from the wet market, there's a building there that was built by the French. French scientists were involved in it. Specialist companies were involved, architects, in designing this laboratory, where there are certain protocols in this laboratory to protect viruses that they're experimenting on from getting out. But some SARS got out a few years ago, and here's a coincidence. I think it was 2014. Are you listening, Paul? In 2014, apparently an epidemiologist, and he was a well-known epidemiologist within that lab, was sentenced to 12 years in a Chinese prison. What for? What did he do? Why did he get 12 years in prison, Paul? Well, apparently what he did was he was selling some of the animals, you know, the wild animals that they do experiments on. I don't know whether it was a dog or a cat or a monkey. He sold some of the animals, or a single animal, to the wet market. You know, them maniacs that chop up dogs and cats and monkeys and that and eat them. So what do you make of that, Paul? The CCP jailed him for 12 years. Alright? They didn't do anything about that lab. So the CCP are all over this. So, okay, it escapes. Oh, and one other thing. What particular virus or a strain of viruses does that lab investigate? What particular unique virus? Would it surprise you to learn, Paul, that they particularly investigate bat viruses, COVID, Paul? It is a coincidence, isn't it? Right next to the market, they're looking into bat viruses. They've actually published, that lab has published details of what they've found in terms of viruses from bats and what they can and can't do. It's a matter of record, Paul. But okay, fair enough. Let's give them the benefit of doubt again. So, after it escaped, after Italy was on their knees, after the world started to shut down, what did the Chinese do? Did they put their hands up and say, right, okay, we're sorry about that? No, it never came for us, they said America done it. They then started lying. They actually to this day say that the British casualty rate is higher than theirs. I mean, do you believe that one, Paul? Because I don't. The world doesn't. The Australian Prime Minister doesn't. The British Prime Minister doesn't. None of the intelligence community does believe that, Paul. Everybody knows that they're lying. And who's lying? The Chinese Communist Party, Paul. And that's why we call it the Chinese Communist Party virus. You know, I'm not going to read your stinking article because it's no worth the paper that it's no written on. You know, what you want us to look at, Paul, is this pish air here, right? Some drunk out singing Motown, right? Look at the state of them. Imagine living next to them, right? You're a sore head, wouldn't it? Anyway, listen, folks. That's all I've got to say on that. If you like the content, hit the like button, share and subscribe. Peace out.